I have an idea on how we can grow our audience.
I'm all ears.
All right, we get some slow motion footage of your annual water gun fight in Central Park. Then we make a custom theme song with our names in it and use that for the intro.
I'm all in. You realize that most people probably have not seen this picture and they're not going to get that joke.
we can actually explain it in the summary if you want.
Yes, we probably should. Well, anyway, welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast looks always an ass. Does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romack. And today we're discussing Thomasine Bushrod from 1974 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones that show up in the last 10 minutes of your life to actually be of any use, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Be of use to you and then possibly be responsible for your deaths, depending on how you look at it. Anyway, now, George, before we get into the movie, let's go back to 1974.
Okay.
And that's the way it was.
1974 was firmly in the film era of blaxploitation. Joe can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was a film movement in the 60s and 70s featuring black characters that proliferated stereotypes about black people to non-black audiences for profit.
Oh, I have to correct you there. It was a proliferated stereotype about black people to black audiences for profit.
Well, that's how it started. And then they realized, we could do this for non-black people and make even more money. So they played up a lot of the stereotypes that were negative for that.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that. I think the criticism of blaxploitation is that it focused to the distaste of the middle-class black people on prostitutes and occasionally, although usually the women, they would be prostitutes, but it turns out they really weren't prostitutes. They were seeking revenge because someone they love was killed, and so they got, it's a whole convoluted history. But the point is, these films have a lot of defenders among especially black actors and performers going hey, this gave us work. This is my first acting credit. This is my first time I got to direct something. This is the first time, blah, blah, blah. So it's a mixed bag, as is all of American history, I guess. Alrighty.
And listeners, in case you've never seen our faces and don't look at the logo of our podcast, Joe's black. I'm not. And he also went to school and studied film. I didn't. So take his word on this one. Thomasine Bushrod is solidly within that era, but I think is solidly not a blaxploitation film. I'd describe it as Bonnie and Clyde if they were more like Robin Hood, but black in the 1910s out west.
And I guarantee you that's how it was pitched. Picture this, okay. We're going to go back to the 1910s, but they're black. Brilliant.
Like Bonnie and Clyde, they rob a lot of banks. Unlike Bonnie and Clyde, they give away most of their loot. So what was going on with bank robberies in 1974? Well, this film came out in April of that year, and there was a particularly famous bank robbery that happened the same month. Joe, give us this headline from the Santa Fe New Mexican from, if you can believe this, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I can't believe it. Warrant out for Patty sought for role in bank robbery.
Patricia Hearst is the granddaughter of American publishing baron William Randolph Hearst. She was 19 in February of 1974 when the Symbionese Liberation Army kidnapped her from her apartment in Berkeley, California. The SLA were regarded as the first terrorist organization to rise out of the American left. I include that factoid to contrast it with the terrorist organizations that have risen out of the American right, like the KKK, slave patrols, Confederate States of America, and the modern Republican Party. Miss Hearst was held for ransom. The SLA wanted the release of 2 recently arrested members. When that didn't work, they demanded that her family spend $400 million on California's poor. The family bungled spending $2 million on them, and the SLA told them to pack sand. In early April, the SLA sent an audio tape to the media in which Hearst claimed to have adopted the SLA's beliefs and is now to be known as Tanya. Then on April 15th, she and some SLA members robbed the Hibernia Bank in San Francisco, wounding 2 people in the process. Eventually, the SLA was mostly killed by the police or fire or themselves, and Hearst was arrested. The trial was a circus, with the prosecution being given way more access and credibility than the defense. The psychology of it all is highly suspect and mired in misogyny. Hearst was convicted and sentenced to 35 years in prison, which was reduced to 7. President Jimmy Carter commuted her sentence at 22 months, and she was eventually pardoned by Bill Clinton on his last day in office. She would go on to become an actress working for John Waters, the guy behind the polyester movie we reviewed a few months ago.
Yeah, a little quick history on Miss Hearst for those who don't know. Yeah, well, that's correct. She was kidnapped at 19 and everything, then suddenly she seemed to convert it. You're right, the misogyny and the lack of psychological care given to her after that was really terrible, because it's most likely this woman was abused by, almost like she was abused by these guys who grabbed her, sexually abused, and there was no attempt to understand, like maybe she was, what's it called when you identify with your assailant?
I don't want to call it what it's called, because what it's called is bullshit. But she began to identify with her. The idea is that she began to identify with her assailants.
It's called for a country. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. It's called. It's
yeah, but you won't give me the name, so I got to try to think of myself.
I don't want to perpetuate Stockholm syndrome.
Thank you.
But it's not like that's not a real thing.
You don't think people identify with their abusers?
No, I think that happens, but there's a problematic history behind how it got called Stockholm Syndrome.
All right, well, whatever. Well, as we commonly know, a Stockholm Syndrome is what she was suffering from, or something like it. George doesn't like the term, whatever. The point is, she was definitely a victim here, and instead of trying to... I mean, she was 19 when this happened. 19-year-olds are already not known for their great decision-making, let alone if what I've seen of her story is correct, she was kept in a closet, there was deprivation of light and air and all sorts of weird... And then the guys may have taken hits on her and stuff, if you know what I mean. So it's like... It was a very, very screwed up story, but, you know...
By taking hits on her, she was raped multiple times. That's what Joe was saying.
Yeah, so... And then, the psychology at the time was, well, she knew what she was doing, and she really switched to them, and whatever. Terrible, terrible story. Terrible thing happened to this poor girl. Anyway, nothing like that, fortunately, happens in this movie. But let's get into it, George. Let's talk about Thomasine and Bushrod.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so, the film was directed by Gordon Parks Jr., and we recently saw his work in Superfly.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know him from 3 The Hard Way. And it's written by Max Julien, who is the aforementioned Bushrod. And I've seen him in Cleopatra Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sorry. Excuse me. Let me do it again. And I've seen his work in Cleopatra Jones. He helped write that. So let's get into the blurbs. IMDb says, the exploits of 1910's bounty hunter Thomasine and bandit Bushrod, who, after rekindling their old romance, take to robbing banks to survive, stealing from rich whites, and sharing the loot with the poor on the harsh frontier. I mean, technically they're stealing from rich whites, but it's really banks they're stealing from.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, at the time, banks weren't insured, so they're actually stealing from the community. I don't think the whole FDIC came after the Depression, if I'm not mistaken. People correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they were insured back in 1910s. Anyway, YouTube says, Set in New Mexico during the years 1912 to 1915, a fictional black Bonnie and Clyde type race to the Southwest in their ancient jalopies, shooting lawmen and sharing the riches with poor blacks, whites, and Indians alike. One avenging sheriff, he's actually a marshal, but okay. One avenging sheriff, determined to bring the pair in, pursues them relentlessly. And then it says 1973.
Yeah, somebody
Columbia Pictures,
the back
Industries
of the
Inc.,
box.
all rights reserved.
Yes.
I don't know why that's there.
Because they copy the back, whatever's on the back of the VHS. That's why.
Okay, here's the characters. Bushrod, as I mentioned, it was played by Max Julian. Thomasine is played by Vanette McGee, and I've seen her work in Blackula, To Sleep with Anger, and she was married to the one black detective on Cagney Lacey, and I saw her in Cagney Lacey, The Return. U.S. Marshal Bogarty is played by George Murdoch. I've seen his work in Earthquake.
And I've seen him in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Here's the weird thing. His face looks so familiar. I could have sworn I've seen him in more than one movie, but...
Yeah, he looks like a generic evil racist white guy.
Yeah, I guess. I just could have sworn I've seen him so much more than this, but it is what it is. The next character we're going to talk about, Jomo, is played by Glenn Turman. And him we've seen recently in How Stella Got Her Groove Back for the podcast. And both George and I have seen him in Gremlins. And I've seen him in Cooley High, Super 8, and Ma Rainey's A Black Bottom. Yeah. And by the way, in case you're curious, George, that is not a reference to her ass. Black Bottom was a dance. It's also a cupcake.
Tell me more about the cupcake.
It's like chocolate at the bottom and cream cheesecake on the top, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds delicious. Oh, and I've seen him in Men of Honor.
Okay. Let me give you all a quick plot summary. The movie opens with Thomasine shooting some dude while he's on his horse. It's not explained who he is or why she shoots him, but that's what happens. Later, she'll be on a farm, and one of the bosses tries to sexually assault her, and she knees him in the groin and pulls out a gun. It'll turn out she's a bounty hunter, and this guy's wanted. While collecting for him, she brings him to the marshal, and Marshal Bogarty, who we'll meet later on, who nearly tosses her into jail because he's an asshole, as we will find out for the rest of the movie. But then he doesn't jail her anyway, just being a dick. And in the marshal's office, she sees a poster for her former lover. That's Bushrod. And she goes, oh, you know what? I will bring him in. Or will I? Bushrod himself is, when not running from capture, breaks horses to make money. Weirdly, despite being famous enough that random strangers want to shake his hand, nobody seems to know who he is.
Well, you know, all black people look the same to all white people.
I guess. I mean, it must be no explanation because they're hiring him to do this job, and he's a wanted bank robber with his posters all over the place. But this one dude comes up to him, oh, let me shake the black guy. Oh, let me shake your hand. I love you. I'm like, oh, okay. So apparently he's famous enough. Later in the film, he's going to talk about getting a job, $2 for breaking horses, which begs the question, how is he going to have a regular job if he's wanted by the cops? It makes no sense. Anyway. Thomasine manages to track him down. Unlike every other bounty hunter who must have seen the same poster, she did find him. No one else did.
Right.
They rekindle their romance. Bushrod then finds the guy who killed his sister and is the reason he got a bounty on his head in the first place. He kills that guy. Then the marshal shows up to arrest him. This is when Thomasine comes to the rescue. She saves him from being arrested. From there, they go on a bank robbing spree, but give away a lot of the money to marginalized groups, or so they say. We don't really see that much Robin Hood stuff. No,
but we see enough of it to establish it as this is what they do. And later on, they'll have an argument where she's like, we could have a better life if you'd stop giving all our money away.
Well, yeah, it's a dialogue that really told me this. Most of the scenes, like when it's supposed to give them money away, I see them say hi to these people, but I don't know. It didn't. Well, we'll get into it later on.
So before we do that, we need to explain what the cold open is about.
Oh, yes, let's get into the cold open.
Before they set out on this bank robbing spree adventure, they spend a little time by a creek and then get into a water fight with each other that goes on for a really long time in slow motion and involves a mostly instrumental song, the only lyrics of which are Thomasine and Bushrod.
Yeah. Slow motion, them in the water. Not sexy, if that's what they were going for.
Not at all. Very chaste.
Very chaste. And it went on entirely too long and with a soundtrack that was not working. Anyway, back to the summary here. So later on, they meet up with a friend of Bushrod's, Jomo, who wants to aid them in their crime spree.
Unfortunately, Jomo's Jamaican. He made it from Jamaica to the out west in 1910s.
It was possible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he gets killed by Marshal Bargardi. When Thomasine and Bushrod go to find Jomo, they get shot down, but not before Thomasine tells Bushrod that she is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Before he dies in a hail of bullets, Bushrod manages to shoot Bargardi in the head, killing him. The end. Literally, as soon as that happens, cut to black.
No, not to black.
No, they did cut to black, and then they...
yeah. Then they cut to that water fight again.
Water fight again, with the credits going up in its own slow motion, and I guess we're supposed to think depressed or something, I don't know. But that's the end. Anything else you want to add, George?
No, that covered it. Like, there were a lot of montages in this movie.
A lot.
Montages.
I mean, there's shots of them with, I guess, black and white photos, and they're just freeze-framed. They're like, why are we seeing this? And why are we seeing... Bargardi also gets one. Like, why is the bad guy getting one? I don't even understand. All right, anyway. Let's get into the discussion here. So, does Thomasine seem to get less independent as the film goes on? Because for me... She seems like this independent woman. And by the end of the film, it's like, I'm cooking dinner and, oh, you men go ahead and play along. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, by the end of the movie, she's pregnant and imagining settling down with Bushrod. Like,
but even before she's pregnant, she's pregnant.
But that's what she wanted. She wanted to settle down and have a family. Like, so she was sort of trying to adopt that role, I guess, in a way to sort of get Bushrod to adopt the role that she wanted for him, which is a thing people do.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know that the writers of the film were thinking about it that deeply, but that's how I would explain that character's behavior.
I just say she just seems so much more tough at the beginning of the film than by the end. And she also gets, although granted she saves him, but then she later gets kidnapped. He has to go save her, and I don't know. She just seemed to get weaker and weaker as the film went on. How would you compare this to Bonnie and Clyde?
Well, this wasn't based on a true story of any kind.
Nope.
So, way more fictional?
I have to say, even though I didn't think... One thing I thought was different for Bonnie and Clyde, I don't think, I don't know that Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway were the greatest couple in the world, but I believe their relationship way more than I believe the relationship of these two. I just don't think they had any chemistry.
No, they kind of, they really didn't.
I didn't think, they just did
not even in slow motion in a river.
I think their performances were fine, but I had no belief that these people were in love with each other. I couldn't understand why she would hunt him down to begin with and start a romance with him again. She seemed to be doing all right by herself. I don't know why she had to go get him. None of that worked for me. And there's something else I was confused by. What motivates Jomo, Thomasine, and Bushrod? Do they have an end game? I know she wants to be a parent at some point.
Nobody was thinking more than 2 steps ahead. And by steps, I mean the literal 2 steps in front of them. Like,
go ahead.
They were like, steal cars, rob banks. This can't possibly end badly for us.
They will just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I couldn't quite understand.
And like Jomo, like he gets captured because he's too busy shit-talking the fucking sheriff. Like, oh, you remember what happened last time we tussled? Yeah, I'm gonna do that again to you because you're a piece of shit and I hate your guy. And then he gets fucking cold clocked in the back of the head because he's too busy like talking shit. Like, dumbest downfall of a pseudo hero ever.
Quite frankly, I'm not even sure why he's even in the film except as bait for them to get lured to. I don't know. The car chases are the thing.
He comes in so late in the movie.
He comes so late in the movie. It's really weird. And also something I can't understand, and the car chases here are ridiculous. They are just inches from each other. These, granted, it's 1910, so none of the cars go that fast, but still, it's very funny. They're practically catching up with them. But here's the thing I couldn't understand. The first time, as far as we know Bushrod loves horses, right? Because he breaks horses, he has horses. And yet, he gets behind a car. First time, the first bank robbery involves them getting in the car to get away with the guy who owned the bank. How does he know how to drive? Where'd that happen? Suddenly he can drive. Why?
I don't know, Joe. I I have to just imagine that they figured it out as they were going along. Or maybe he got a quick tutorial from the first guy that they carjacked, you know.
He was the first guy, the bank owner. First guy.
Right, but he might have been like, okay, I've got a gun to your head. Tell me how this thing works.
No, but we see him get into the car without asking.
Oh, right there.
How it works.
Yeah, no, I guess he I guess
he knows how to drive it.
Horse riding mapped very well to cars.
I mean, they literally talk about, a car. Whoa. I've never seen one of these before. That's why they go to the car in the first place. And then they get the idea, hey, this is a bank owner. And then the guy comes out and brags. And then they go, oh, you're the owner of the bank? Well, we're going to rob you now. Why was Bushrod given a backstory about his sister? And then the guy he's seeking revenge on is murdered off in a few minutes in the film. It just seemed like they introduced this plot line. Then suddenly the bad guys who was early in the film, he's killing other people we see. And then suddenly he's killed by him. That's the end of it. I'm like, why even introduce that?
Bad writing. They couldn't figure out another way. Because apparently, like, he got the price on his head from whatever that whole story was. Like, that guy killed his sister. He killed somebody that was involved in that. And then, which I could believe he gets a murder rap for being black killing a white guy. Like, I could absolutely see that being how he ends up in that situation. But I had to put that together in my head and write that. They didn't do that in the story for us.
It's so weird. They could have, why make it his sister? It could have been anybody. Or just why can't it be something between him and a guy, personal? And that's another thing. Something I noticed in 70s movies, and maybe it's just the ones I saw, it's always a sister. It's either a sister or a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why, what is that about? I don't understand. Never a brother, never dad doesn't need a avenging. It's always a sister, the wife. Even Shakespeare, man, is Hamlet, it's the dad. But in movies of the 70s, it's got to be a woman.
Yep.
It's got to be your sister or your wife. Mostly your sister for some reason. I don't get it. Very strange. Do you know what the politics of this film is? Were?
Apolitical?
You think it was apolitical?
No, I mean, I don't.
I get the impression they were going for something. I'm just not sure what it was.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying it's not clear what this movie was actually. Okay, we do see. So there is a scene where he's coming to the last town on the frontier, apparently, and there's two black children hanging at the front,
right.
And there's a warning sign for like. I had to take a picture of it with my phone because YouTube was blocking screenshots. Fucking weird. It said, if you look like these two, go around. Signed the last town.
Which is apparently what the town is called.
Yeah, and he cuts them down and sort of cuddles their corpses for a minute, and then I presume he buries them.
You have to presume because we don't know.
Yeah, and he tears down those signs, which is kind of, I don't know, putting black people in danger because, like, those kids are already dead. You can't save them. If you keep black people away from the town where they're going to kill black people, you're actually saving their lives.
Also, he goes to the town himself.
Yeah, and
he
doesn't seem to have that problem. And like that, the young boy in the hotel is super respectful and kind. Yeah. Like, over the top. Like, oh, Mr. Bushrod, your wife is up there. She told me your wife. How did you know she's my wife? Well, she's the most beautiful colored woman I've ever seen, sir. Like, holy like, I don't know, somebody did the 1910s out west version of raising this kid right?
Well, here's also the thing. It's supposed to be this dangerous town, right? Where that scene was...
he's playing poker with a bunch of white people.
He's playing poker, and not only that, he takes a gun, puts it at one of the guy's faces, practically shoots him. There's no lynch mob. No one goes bananas about it. Like, it just makes no sense. That scene was completely unnecessary. They should not have had... Don't use lynching like that. I mean, it's a horrible part of our history. Why would... And it just uses this nasty little scene that goes nowhere. Means nothing. It could have been completely out of the film. Everything could have happened exactly as we saw it. And even in the when he pulls the gun on the guy and says, "Oh, you're lucky, that's Bushrod. He could have killed you." There's a black piano player there, so apparently there are black people in the towns. I don't even understand. That whole thing was completely unnecessary, exploitive, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So that's what I was wondering. What is it seems like the film was trying for some political message, but failing on every level.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I already know what my answer to this is, but what would you change if you remade this movie today?
I wouldn't remake this movie today. There's no reason to remake this movie today. It's Robin Hood, but black in the Old West.
Excuse me, it's Bonnie and Clyde, but black in the Old West.
It's Bonnie and Clyde, but more like Robin Hood, but black in the Old West. Like, if I can describe the movie like that, it doesn't need to be remade.
Well, if I did remake it, you're right, it doesn't need to be remade.
Like, there's nothing original about this movie at all.
I would play up more the politics of it and make it more comprehensive of what they're doing, and that there's a reason behind what they're doing. They're just randomly giving money around. Like, hey, we're going to rise, we're going to help other people. I would give more.
So make it more like Robin Hood. Like, more like Robin Hood.
I guess.
Because that's what Robin Hood did.
Right, but I would just play up the politics of it more. And also, obviously, that lynching scene would not be there. Or if it is there, there's going to be consequences for the people who did it. Don't just have this there and then like, oh, that was that scene.
Like, he even asks, he's like, who did that? And they're like, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, they're not.
And it stops there.
And it ends there, yeah. No more inquiries. It's terrible, terrible. So, this is a quick discussion. I don't know what else to say about it, except to ask, does this still work?
I mean, for everything we just said, I don't think it doesn't work. I just don't think it has to. I don't think this film really brings anything into the world that needs to be there.
Well, I certainly would agree with that. It is not a good film. I would say it doesn't work. For a whole host, I don't think it worked in 1974. I think it's poorly edited, which is also a problem with Superfly. I already bring Super because I was also the same director, so I don't know if that was his fault or what. It's the main characters have no chemistry. The story, there are scenes in it that seem to be reaching for something more profound and doesn't get there, so they probably shouldn't be there. If I remade this, I'd have the Thomasine, much stronger character than she, or at least by the end of the film. The whole, I want to have a family, which comes out of nowhere. Why does this strong, independent woman, and suddenly, I just want to be a housewife now. Why?
Because women's want that, Joe. That's what all the women's want.
She wears a bounty on her all this time. She's obviously very independent. But, you know what I really want is a man and a baby in me. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. So, for me, it just doesn't work. Didn't work. I didn't see this originally in 1974. I'm the one who put this on the list. Ask me why I put this on the list, George.
Why'd you put this on the list, Joe?
I have no fucking idea. I don't know. I don't know. I saw the name of this. It's from 1974. It's a classic film. Seems to be about something. I'll put it on here. Don't know what.
Well,
complete mistake.
Hey, you can't win them all. And I'm going to sign on with it not working. Like, it was a nothing. Like, I couldn't really care about the movie.
It's definitely nothing but for a picture that's very short.
Yeah.
Imagine having that many montages for a film that's not even that long.
Yep.
It's so blatant padding going on there. Not a good film. I can see why it's obscure and no one remembers it. And again, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was thinking of another film, maybe.
Maybe.
This is the same one. I don't know. I will never know, George. It's going to be a mystery that'll haunt us till the end of our days.
No, it won't, because I'm going to forget about this when I'm done editing this episode.
What's up next?
Next week, we'll be talking about That's My Boy, the child rape comedy from 2012. A very different movie. At least it's different.
It is very different. We'll see if my characterization of it as the child rape comedy, well, it is a child rape comedy, but we'll see if my characterization of it is correct in the sense that there is a scene in it where it looked like the boy was of age, and like he was supposed to really be like they cast a 14-year-old as opposed to like a 20-year-old in the role of a 14-year-old, being seduced by this older woman, and I found, wow, I really don't want to see this.
Well, I'm going to make you watch it because you've talked about it enough times that I now have to see it, and I'm not going to do that for my own enjoyment.
Oh, that's next time, ladies and gentlemen. See George and I have another meltdown. So So I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romacka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romacka.
This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.
The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
U.S. Marshal Bogarty.
Bogarty.
The game.
Dear Miss Vanderbilt, recently a young couple wrote to the Action Line column in our evening paper requesting help in finding an aunt. Dear Miss Vanderbilt, what is considered proper etiquette when the groom's father is divorced and remarried and the relationship among father, mother, and stepmother is not amiable? Dear Miss Vanderbilt, I'm sure my husband's 3 grown children by a previous marriage treat total strangers with more courtesy than they have ever shown me. Dear Miss Vanderbilt, do you ever send flowers to men?